Yes, your Doctors on Call Radio, and today we discuss marriage and parenting. And we've just in studio is psychiatrist Dr. Catherine Mutisya, and for marriage, we've said that the foundation or the building blocks of a good marriage is spending time together, making sure your communication is right, managing external pressures, whether it is friends, whether it is the in-laws, and taking care of your finances. As for parenting, you have to make sure you draw a beautiful line in as regard to discipline and playing with your children. Make sure you talk to your children, you listen to them, you set boundaries, and when they do something good, reward them. When they've done something wrong, well, tell them that this is what you have done wrong and this is what you've got to do to fix it. So, Dr. Catherine Mutisya, if I might just point out, what is your feeling of parents or career women who are so busy? You know, it hurts. They're so busy, their husbands are so busy, they end up putting the children in daycare center from morning all the way till evening. If that's not the case, they send them to boarding school at a young age. What's your feeling on that? Are they doing the children any justice?
Okay, let me say that the family each family needs to sit down and discuss, yes, we have children. How are we going to adjust our careers to make sure that we have time for these children?
Yes.
It might mean that one of the parents reduces the number of hours they work, or it might mean getting a house help who is very effective and having to monitor.
Yes.
So basically, each couple has to sit down and discuss and agree on how they are going to make sure that they create time for the children. Because I said love equals to time. You can't tell your child you love them, yet you don't spend any time to them. You can't tell your spouse you love them and you don't spend any time with them. Because if you don't spend time, then you will discover that you don't know this child, you don't know this person, they are strangers to you. Only when you spend time with them, that's the only time you get to know them. But I must encourage, especially working mothers, I've also been a working mother, that it is possible. Yeah, but you actually need to consciously think about it, plan for it, and see how you can create time for those children. It's unfortunate that some careers might not be flexible in the timings, but I'm sure once you discuss with your boss and all that, and also discuss at home, even if it means having to step down on your career for some time, one of you, and picking it up later, then it's very important that kids get a good foundation.
All right. Yeah. Remember, should you have a question, do drop us a text to our SMS line 4316 or post your question to our Facebook page, that is Radio 316 Rocks. Today's topic is centered on marriage and parenting, and we want to have you grounded in the right foundations to keep it working. Let's take some questions here. There's a question that goes, Dr. Catherine, my young son likes to seek so much attention. He involves himself in drinking, smoking, and I know it is as a result of wanting to spend time with me. When I ask him to stop, he says he needs his own space and needs to be. How can I influence him better, since he would rather hang around his peers than with me? Anne from Nairobi.
Okay. I must say that we had previously said that children will always look for attention, whether by behaving well or behaving badly, to get your attention. But this young man, I'm assuming they must be a teenage, because they are saying the child is drinking and smoking.
Right.
Still, it is not too late. Boys, because she's talking of her son, boys really value doing things, activities. If you can get, especially the father, get to discuss with this boy and get to know what the boy likes doing. Is it playing football? Is it playing golf? Is it watching TV? And spend that time with him. Then definitely they'll bond and they'll be able to to listen to each other, and then they'll discuss, they'll engage each other as an adult, especially from teenage, that why do you think smoking is bad, why do you think alcohol is bad, and you discuss from there. Unfortunately, sometimes it's very difficult when a parent smokes in the presence of the children, drinks in the presence of the children, probably puts alcohol in the fridge and telling the son you cannot drink. So right from the word, research showing that children who grow up seeing their parents drinking, they are likely to drink. And again, I said, if you spend time with your children, you'll notice the first time they take anything, like they take any drug or they drink. But if you're not spending time with them, you might discover it when they've already made it an habit. But I have said that we've treated even children with conduct disorders, that all is not lost. Even in adults who have antisocial personality, if you catch them when they're adults, you can still help them. So basically, this aunt should not give up. She needs to find ways of creating time. Although mothers, we've been accused that the way we relate to sons most of the time is we just need to want to give commands and commands and commands. And
sometimes we're soft, are we not? We need a man to man them up. Tell them life is not as simple.
Exactly. So unfortunately, if the father is not around for any reasons, then Anne needs to find a father figure, either an uncle or a older brother, to discuss with the child. But again, teenagers appreciate the company of their parents. They appreciate the limits parents set to them. Right. It's very easy for a teenager to say, no, I cannot drink, my father will kill me. It is easier for them to use their parents to be able to deal with their pressure and say, no, my mother will kill me if they found me doing this. It's easier for them to do that. But if you've never set those limits with them, then they have nothing to say. So they'll just get into the peer pressure, and they can't be able to stand the peer pressure.
Wow. There's a question here from Benuron from Mombasa. He says, of late, I have not been around Kenya, and I've had a long distance kind of relationship with my wife. Recently, a friend emailed me and told me that my wife is involved with another man. How do I confront my wife on this hearsay and make her feel appreciated, as I could be in denial that she is a saint? I want the truth from her. Benron from Mombasa.
Okay. If I may repeat what I said, that for any marriage to work and be stable, you need to spend time together. But for this particular caller, it's unfortunate that they have to work in different places. The only way to heal that marriage is to make sure that now they start living together. Because once you separate, each one of you makes friends. The people you bond with, the people you're working with, the people you're living with, and before you know it, there is no bond between your husband or your wife. But I'm not saying that unfaithfulness is allowed. It is not allowed, but we need to prevent it.
Right.
Yeah, by creating a bond between the two of them. I'm sure if this particular caller, if they sat down and with the wife and discussed that separation has been a big stress to them, how can we work on this and then heal? Because unfaithfulness is very, very, very hard to forgive. They need to be helped to forgive, but they need to work on preventing it and moving on. So they will have to make a decision who moves. Is it the wife to move and join the husband, or is it the husband to come back and live with the wife?
Critical
but they must spend
there.
time together. Yes. Yes.
And what if they're all the husband, as he says, he's not been around Kenya, and this wife is here? My whole tug of war in the mind is, how do you now start sitting down with your wife and say, honey, who's this other man? Or how do you bring the topic up? It will just bring a whole fight, don't you think?
Again, when you get married, it's a covenant you're making. And through, you say that when things are hard, when things are bad, I will commit to you. So the separation is also part of the covenant that you said, when things are bad, we'll stick together. So the wife owes an explanation to the husband. I'm assuming the husband, where he is also faithful. because the distance can really create tensions. So they owe each other explanations, but they should understand the stress which they are facing, and they need to iron it. Yeah, basically you won't because they could be as well in a situation where one of them may sick for years with a terminal illness. Does that mean that because either one of them is not getting sexual satisfaction, then they'll go out? So basically, when you take the vows to get married, it is for better and for worse. But there are certain things we are saying, these ones you need to watch out. Separation will tempt either of you, because you're creating, your spouse is not there, you become close to other people either at home or at work, and before you know it, you have no feelings for the person you married, and you're bonding with other people. Yes.
And again, just to address this question, when they say hearsay, now how do you validate that your friend is actually telling you the truth? Is it because you trust your friend so much? Could they have vested interests in your marriage? Sometimes I think it's very keen to also look through and see if it could be true or not.
Yes.
Whatsoever.
And basically when there's good communication, when you communicate well, you become friends. And actually the only way you can, a good way of measuring whether a marriage is a happy one is by trying to find out how much each one of them misses the other, how much each one of them knows about the other, how many secrets each one of them can keep from the other. Because if communication is good, then it will be very easy for you to ask, honey, I've heard this and this, is it true? Because you've been communicating and you're friends. And happy couples will rarely will not keep secrets from each other. It will be burning in them because this is my friend, I just can't keep this. So it should be easy if there's communication. But again, you see, we've said that love equals to time. The time they have spent separated, the friendship is not there. Communication has been zero, because I'm imagining probably they communicate through phone and through emails. There's no personal touch. So that is strained, but it can be recreated. The same way they met, they didn't know each other, a relationship started and it grew to marriage, they can restart all over again.
Possibility.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a question here from Mercy, a text actually that's just coming in from Mercy from Kisumu, and she says, my hubby really loves sex. Whenever namnyima, well, if I were to translate that is, if I refuse, we're not good friends. I have a 1-year-old baby. What can I do about this? Yeah, basically, when I mentioned the foundations of marriage, I said that sexual intimacy is very important in marriage. And she says she has a 1-year-old baby. So that could be post-traumatic or something. She's dealing with that? Not really, because by end of 6 weeks, a woman has healed. Whether probably a bit longer if it was a cesarean section. But basically what goes wrong with sexual intimacy is when, for example, there is no verbal intimacy. Because for you to have sexual intimacy, you must be friends. For it to, for even, and I must mention that women, they are like, they are slow to be aroused. We compare them to a charcoal and to a gas cooker. Charcoal, you have to bebeleza, take some time. But gas cooker, you just switch on and it's on. It up. So for women, it's a bit, they take some time to actually get into the mood of sexual intimacy. So probably there is no good relationship, or the man does not prepare the woman very well. But otherwise, if you're friends and you bond well, then sexual intimacy should be adequate for them. But all said and done, there are certain medical conditions which can make one have sexual difficulties. And what are these? Basically, there are some medications, like we know that the oral contraceptives, she says she has a 1-year-old baby. Yes. We don't know whether she's on oral contraceptives. There are medication for hypertension which could lower sexual interest, the medication for diabetes, even diabetes itself. Some of those medical conditions can lower one's libido, but once you've examined and found there's no medical cause, then basically it's psychological. Probably the woman is not getting well prepared, they don't feel loved enough,
there are all those external pressure. A baby again is an external pressure. You are just the two of you. There's a baby who cries at night, who needs to be attended to. Again, they need to discuss how to manage these pressures. Yes.
All right. I hope that sorts your situation